The home of the common Joe and the common Sally in the know, even more so than all those media talking heads. Well. Looks like it's not just the OCF, it's not just the Oklahoma Sooner fans that's disgruntled saying this. It's not just Joel Klatt who's come to the epiphany of this very thing, but now we have a actual Trojan website, a USC Trojan website, actually starting to come around to what may be what they may be calling sooner or later the Linky Boy farce. Let's talk about it. Here we come again, riding on in with the Outlaw Posse. That's right. This is the Outlaw of College Football, acronymically speaking. That's the OCF, also known as JPC. That's me on Facebook under Jesse Paul Clark, spelled J-E-S-S-E without the I. Also on Twitter at OCF Productions. Now, getting right to it here. Seems like I can't make this stuff up, man. You know, I try to leave Linky Boy alone. I try not to throw the man on the grill so much, and I'd gotten away from it for a few weeks, but all of a sudden, just like the bad smell coming from your trash when you know you need to take the trash out, you start smelling it again. And here we come again, this time from a Trojan website. The all Trojan website on Fan Nation. It seems like they're sort of coming around to the fact that Lincoln Riley really underachieved after all that smack talk that him and Colin Coward or Cowturd or whatever y'all want to call him talked the whole offseason about not being able to recruit to Oklahoma and whatnot. And now they're sort of calling him out on his lackadaisical approach to signing any defensive players that would, light the fires for people, make people feel confident that this guy is going to try to be a coach that is going to have a wholesome program that can win on both sides of the ball and eventually win them a national championship for the money they paid him. I'm going to throw a few graphs up here in a few seconds from the website, All Trojans Fan Nation. And one of the notes I got from there is that they missed out on some pretty big names this past offseason. They missed out on Peyton Bowen, Roderick Pleasant, and Dalen Austin. All top-tier cornerbacks. They were having real problems and issues with getting cornerbacks and safeties and whatnot. It says USC offered 20 cornerbacks now that were actually higher than their two highest gets at cornerback. 20 of them. That means they probably offered somewhere between 20 and 30. And their top 20 offers all turned them down. The guys that they offered, which indicates from what this article is saying, that they had to move down the board quite a bit just to get a cornerback. Because the guys that were in their top 20 all chose other teams. Also, they just missed out on a guy by the name of Peyton Woodyard. Is that right? Yeah, Peyton Woodyard. A 4-star safety from St. John Bosco High School in, can you guess what state? California. This ain't like they missed out on a great cornerback they were recruiting somewhere in North Dakota or Florida or somewhere like that. This guy was in their backyard, which also goes back to another lie that's been spewed by Lincoln Riley and his contingents, and a lot of their fan base, Daniel Bitzer, had been saying that there was going to be this magical wall built around old Cali. And nobody was going to come in there and get any recruits that USC wanted. The ones they didn't want, maybe they come in here and get those. But we've already seen Oregon shot that to hell and back. They recruited more 4-star athletes and 5-star athletes out of California than USC did or any other team from California. Then on top of that, you had Alabama come in there and get a 5-star quarterback that they both wanted. They can lie and say they didn't want him, but they did. And now you got Georgia. The guy ended up choosing Georgia. Not someone on the West Coast like Oregon or UCLA or Washington or Stanford. He chose Georgia, which is probably the state the furthest away from USC that's a viable college football power. And you let Georgia come in there and take him from you. So when are y'all going to build this wall? Because so far it seems like this wall is probably no higher than my ankle. More like a curb. Would y'all do, build a curb around California, man? And maybe hopefully the University of Nevada or maybe, I don't know, Idaho State might stub their foot on it and not get a recruit out of California. It's I hate to be like coming in here and just piling on and saying I told you so, because now you got Joel Klatt. Not only Joel Klatt, but now you got USC websites, their very own websites, calling them out. And then the thing that they'll grasp to, but before I get to their grasping, I see a little stat right here that I forgot about. They give up 1,000 yards in total offense, 1,000 yards in total offense in the last 2 games to Utah and Tulane. Give up a 16-point lead in 4 minutes and 7 seconds. And Lincoln Riley wants to play it off like, oh, we're not struggling on defense. And now what they'll grasp to is the fact that they've done really well in the transfer portal. Well, guess what? The transfer portal is fool's gold. You're going to get 1 or 2 great people out there. But for the most part, for every 2 or 3 great athletes you get out of the transfer portal, you have about 15 or 16 other ones that don't work out, that ain't good. And there's a reason why they're in the transfer portal. They couldn't make it in the starting lineup, usually, for the team they were playing for. That's usually the reason they leave. Now, there are some possibilities out there, outliers, like if a coach leaves or something and it pisses them off and they leave. But other than that, usually it's because they couldn't break the starting lineup. So obviously they're not that good to begin with. So y'all can brag about the transfer portal all you want. In the end, if you don't come to the realization and start pushing this guy to do what he needs to do and call him out, I mean, he can turn this thing around still, much as I hate to admit it. All he's got to do is start taking it more seriously, the recruiting of defense more seriously. Because now you even got USC websites calling his ass out. And that's all I got to say about that. You guys and gals, if you don't mind, there's a heart down here. It says heart thanks at the bottom of this video. If you don't mind, click on that. Throw me a few dollars in the coffers. Get me off the YouTube teat. And as always, KMCA to all the other teams. Class is now officially